Hey guys, it's Troy coming at you from London town with another video. You need to remove yourself from toxic situations early, okay? You need to remove yourself from toxic situations early. So what is a toxic situation? Well, it's a relationship that isn't serving you for one reason or another, okay? And an important point here, and this is going to sound a little bit woke and a little bit leftist, but it's true, an important point here is that only you can determine whether the situation is toxic or not, because what people like to do out there is to gaslight others, okay? So the people that you are with, the women you are with, that you get with, are going to minimize, if you try to have a conversation with them about the fact that you're not happy about a certain aspect of the relationship, they're going to try to minimize that aspect of the relationship, or they're going to say that you're imagining it, or they're going to say that you're making too big a deal of it, or they're going to imply that you are not crazy, but they're going to say, they're going to be surprised, they're going to act surprised that you're making a big deal about this thing, which they are going to argue is minuscule and it doesn't affect the bigger picture, okay? So you have to be the arbiter of what is toxic, and it's toxic for you. They may not think it's toxic, okay? They may not think it's a problem, or they may say they don't think it's a problem, but you have to determine whether it is for you or not. And if it is, then you need to remove yourself, regardless of what they may say, because obviously they're going to have their own interpretation, they're going to have their own view on it. They're certainly not likely to accept culpability if they're doing something that's destructive towards you, or wrong towards you, or abusive towards you, okay? And that's, I would say, a minority of cases, but these things happen. So you're going to have to be the one who decides, and you're going to have to be the one who walks and who's prepared to walk. Now, I would say a couple of things here. Firstly, this is why it's really important to have a period of time at the beginning where you're not super committed, okay? If you are the kind of person who goes on a couple of dates and then you're like, right, I'm all in, okay, we're boyfriend and girlfriends, let's start talking about the rings and, you know, the honeymoon destination and our children's names and all that kind of stuff, then you're doing it wrong, quite frankly. You need to hold back for a period of time. And the reason you need to do that is because you need to observe her behavior over time. I would give the same advice to women, by the way. I think women also need to do the same thing. They need to hold back for a period of time and observe his behavior over time, all right? But this is mainly aimed at men, so that's why I'm talking about it from that point of view. So you need to observe her behavior over a period of time and see whether it fits in with your values or not, okay? And it may do, hopefully it does, but it may not. And if it doesn't, then again, you've got to get yourself out of that situation, unfortunately. Now, it's not always easy, and it's harder to get yourself out of a situation if you've leapt into living together, or if you've leapt into some kind of commitment, or you've bought a house together, God forbid, or you've got married, God forbid, right? You know, in the early stages. It's a terrible, terrible idea. You don't want to be making big strides towards commitment in the first few months of having met somebody, or really even in the first year, to be quite honest. You need to keep a degree of distance, because getting to know somebody takes time. It's not this overnight thing. And what you have to remember is that when we first meet a new person, they're gonna be on their best behavior, because that's just what people do, right? You meet a girl off a dating app or in person or whatever, you start dating, you know, you sleep together, you have a great time, the vibe between you is good, the chemistry between you is good, and in your head, because you're in that new relationship energy, you're in that first glow of, you know, happiness, having met this person, and it's all seems to be going well, you think, okay, this is all great, you know, she's a keeper, why would I not want to lock this down, why would I not want to be committed with this person? But again, what you have to bear in mind is that, just as you probably are, she is putting on a front to some extent. She's showing you her best behavior, okay? Have you seen how she reacts under stress? Have you seen how she reacts when the going is not as easy as it is right now? No, you haven't, so you don't know, okay? And again, this is why it's very important to be somewhat cautious at the beginning of a new relationship, and not to leap into it, and certainly not to leap into any kind of commitment where getting out of that commitment is going to be tricky, or it's going to take time, okay? So a marriage is the worst, but, you know, living together it makes it trickier then to dissolve that partnership because you've got to go and find somewhere else to live, or she has, or whatever, you know, it's tricky. Even saying we're boyfriend and girlfriend, right? You've made a form of verbal commitment then, which is going to be, so any type of concession you make to commitment, it's going to be harder then to come out of that, okay? And the hardness is graduated depending on the level of commitment you make. So as I say, if you get married to her, then you're really screwed, because it's going to be harder to break that particular commitment versus saying, oh, we're boyfriend and girlfriend, which is relatively easy to break, okay? So you've got to have a degree of caution in those early stages, because if you don't, you're going to find yourself in hot water, right? You're going to find it much easier to do what needs to be done, which is, if there's toxicity present, you need to get out of it, okay? Now, if you do find yourself in a situation where it's toxic and you're somewhat locked in, then you're going to have to do whatever it takes to remove yourself from that situation. So I remember, you know, one time I was in a relationship with this woman, and you know, we ended up living together. We lived together quite quickly, which was a mistake on my part. And pretty soon, in fact, almost immediately, I was aware that I was not happy in the situation. I was aware that this wasn't working for me, okay? And I'm not going to blame her, you know, because she was a great person. I'm sure she had her own issues going on. I'm not going to blame me, because I'm me and I don't want to blame myself. But, you know, whatever it was, whether it was her, whether it was me, or likely a combination of the two together, it wasn't working, and I was aware that I needed to get out of it. But now we're living together, okay? And as I said, it's harder then to break that off than it is if we were just, you know, boyfriend and girlfriend. So I had to drop the bombshell, and what I decided to do was I waited until she was away. She'd gone, I think, to visit her parents, and I called her and I just said, look, you're going to have to move out, this isn't working. And to be quite frank, all hell broke loose, right? I mean, she was not happy about it. There was a lot of back and forth. We kind of reconnected for a short while, which again was a mistake on my part, but it happened. And then finally, you know, we did dissolve the relationship, but it was not easy, okay, and it was a tricky few months, to say the least. All right, and the mistakes that I made there were, I allowed this thing to run far too quickly, and I should have known better, and I ignored, not that I ignored warning signs, but I should have just taken my own advice, right, which was maybe less formulated at that point because I was younger. And I didn't, you know, maybe having that experience was good because I'm able to pass on some wisdom from that. But, you know, I should have been aware that we hadn't really known each other for long enough to make a bold step like moving in together. And I should have been aware that it becomes increasingly difficult to get out of a partnership like that when you're more committed, all right? Regardless, I did it. It was pretty tough to get out of it, but I did get out of it, okay? And as I say, you're just going to have to be, once you know that it's wrong, okay, that things are not working in your favor, that you are not happy in this situation, then you're going to have to bite the bullet, and you're going to have to be prepared to take action at whatever the best time is in order to eradicate, you know, to remove yourself from the situation at hand. Okay, and whether that means waiting until she's away, or whether that means, you know, creating an argument in order to get some distance, or whether that, you know, whatever you need to do, you're going to have to think about it. You're going to formulate a strategy, and then you're going to have to action that strategy. What you can't do is just sit there and go, oh well, you know, or just sit there and get drunk every night and go, oh well, you know, I've kind of screwed this one up. This is me for life now, because, you know, it's fundamentally unhealthy. And I think one of the unhealthiest things, really, I mean, people talk about promiscuity and casual dating as being very damaging, and I'm not saying it's not damaging, but I think that being in the wrong relationship is also incredibly damaging, okay, for you and probably for the other party as well. But just, you know, again, we're focused on ourselves here. So for you as an individual, being in the wrong relationship, and you know it's the wrong relationship, is just a terrible, terrible place to be, and you're going to have to get yourself out of it, okay? And you're going to have to do whatever it takes to get yourself out of it. I would watch the withdrawal scene in Train Spotting, where Renton, I think it is, goes to a house to get off heroin, and he brings some paraphernalia with him. He brings a bucket to be sick in, he brings some orange juice for the vitamin C, he brings a pool mag and different things, and he basically just goes and locks himself in a house and gets off of heroin over a few days. And it's almost like that. It's like, right, okay, I've got to do this thing, it's going to be difficult. I know these things are going to help. I know these things are going to make it somewhat easier. So let's get those into place. Let's plan this, and then let's action it, and let's just do it, okay? And that's what you need to do. Not easy, easier said than done, but there are times in your life where you're going to have to take decisive and sometimes ruthless action, okay? Not pleasant, not something you want to avoid if you can, but sometimes it needs to be done. Anyway, with all of that being said, hope you enjoyed the video. We have got our course The Edge is still open for new enrollments at the moment. So email me, troy@realtroyfrancis.com, if you're interested in learning all about game and masculine energy and how to be the best version of yourself that you can be with women and in the world in general. We also have a boot camp coming up in Bogota, Colombia, 16th to 20th of October. Email me, troy@realtroyfrancis.com. Put your WhatsApp details in if you're interested in that, and we can get on the phone and have a chat, okay? Because we do need to have a conversation with you to make sure the fit's right for that. But the overall cost for that is only £2,797, Great British pounds, and you get access to the online course for free as well. So it's really an amazing deal. It's going to be a blast. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Give me a like. Hit the notifications bell so you know when new videos are coming out, and write something in the description below. Let me know what you think about this topic. I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye bye.